What is your caught in an NSFW situation at work? A few weeks after I started at a new company, they hired a new and very pretty secretary near me. Every dude at the office was getting shot down by her, except some guy on the second floor. The guy was your typical jacked, tan, slick hair sorted guy that can win a woman over with a smile. He won her attention, and every day I did overhear him flirting with her hard over at her desk. Anyway, fast forward another couple months to some random work day. I need to go do a supplies run and my boss needed some stuff too. So we take a walk over to the small supply closet. He unlocks the door and we walk in to see the secretary and this tan guy going at it hard. There was a good few seconds of us all making direct eye contact, when my boss closes the door and walks away without saying a word. I was not sure what to do, so just sort of go back to my desk. An hour goes by and I still have not seen my boss or the secretary, and I am not sure any of my co-workers would believe it if I said anything. All of a sudden my desk phone rings. The lady on the line is with Hour and wants me in her office now. I get in there and see the secretary crying in one seat in the entrance area beside my boss, who is pale as a ghost. In an office a few feet away, the tan dude is having a screaming match with the Hour woman. When I walk in, a similar moment occurred to the storage closet and everyone froze and locked eyes. Hour woman comes out of her office and has the tan dude go into her co-worker's office while she invites me in to talk. All of a sudden, when I am in the office with the Hour lady, she starts breaking down crying, I mean sobbing and snorting everywhere. Unsure what to say, or do I ask if she is okay? She apologizes and then tells me that the tan guy is her husband. I have no idea what to do, so just kept saying it will be okay over and over. First thing that popped into my head, after a few minutes of her crying, she straightens herself out, has me confirm what my boss said happened, then told me I was good to go. Back to my desk. A bit later my boss comes to my desk and tells me we are going to lunch. The moment we are in his car, he lets out this huge sigh and blankly says, I had no idea they were married. Both the husband and secretary were fired and the boss and I chuckled about the incident forever. I believe the Hour woman ended up getting remarried, and total gossip. So who can tell if it is true the secretary had given the tan guy herpes? What a ride. At my last job, there was this deaf guy who was nonverbal. The company brought in an ASL translator for every meeting, which was the only time you could really interact with him face to face. Honestly, a stand-up guy though. One day I am in the washroom taking a dump, and I hear something strange in the stall next to me. The steady schlick of someone jerking off, then some grunting. So I finished up quick and left the washroom. It was just me and the masturbator in there. I checked his shoes, then stood outside and pretended to be on the phone. Turns out it was the deaf guy. I just smiled and waved when I saw him. From then on, I noticed that he went to the washroom for a suspiciously long time every day. I guess nobody told him that masturbating makes noise. Edit. Some people corrected me on my description of the man's disability. Not me, but a past CO worker, we will call him Bob Smith. He had logged into a shared computer in our lab one day, and he pulled up Outlook, and then turned around to do something with his phone while Outlook loaded. Well, let me tell you, our corporate mail filter failed that day. I walk in to see Bob turned away from the screen, and on the screen, in the Outlook preview pane, nearly full screened, was an email. In huge letters, Bob Smith, are you getting enough big black dick? And of course, this lovely email was accompanied by a picture showing exactly what they were talking about. Just in case you were unsure, I try to suppress a laugh, and just say to him, well, Bob, are you? He looked at me, am I what? What are you talking about? I point to the screen. He cannot hit that delete button fast enough. The words, well, are you, with no further context for anyone else overhearing, became a running joke between us. My old married wife and kids' boss had a ton of nudes on the work computer of mostly other women and occasionally himself. They were labeled mundane things like Maloney job site. Somehow he synced his personal email to the work one, and I discovered he was picking up men on Craigslist. Email subject lines like "suck my cock daddy" are hard to ignore. He was such a miserable, nasty, explosively angry person and went viral for a funny house selling video. Edit. Sheesh, this blew up. Basically Tony Soprano on coke sells a house. Yep, you got it. It is not an act unless 24/7 dramatic as duck is an act. OP is a she. Ex-boss is divorced and estranged from kids grapevine, and I highly doubt I am the only one privy to this information or tubby time shots. Thanks for the concern though. Only got caught peripherally in this one. One of my IT guys assigned to one of our regional offices kept getting help requests from one clerical, and most of the problems were questionable at best. She obviously just wanted to see him. One day he gets a call and goes up to her cubicle and she is standing there with her pants off. He backed out of that, put her on his do not respond list until things could get straightened out, and then called me for help since nothing he had done was working. Since she was not my employee, I picked up the phone and called the regional director. The initial contact was something like, "Hi, regional first name basis. You know, I have always supported casual Fridays, but do not you think no pants Fridays are a little too much?" Later edit 1. Makes no difference what the woman looked like, or the guy for that matter. Knowing the guy in question, he would have been deeply offended and upset whether she was Miss Universe or Godzilla's spawn. Simply not germane. 2. We had another similar instance a few years later with the genders reversed. The consequences were the same: paperwork in the file and the employee soon leaving in shame. 3. I probably should have indicated that this was more than 3 decades ago when consequences for this sort of offensive conduct were on a different scale than now. I did like to know the follow-up to this. Like, what? She was written up for sexual harassment and it went into her personnel file. I think she moved on to a different organization shortly thereafter. Naked man works 2 out of 3 times. Back in the early 2000s there was a NSFW prank floating around the internet. If you clicked it, a looping video of 2 guys going at it popped up on your screen and the PC speaker squawked, "Hey everybody, I am watching gay porn." That was not the worst of it. If you tried to close the browser it spawned 2 more and kept spawning more if you closed those. I worked in IT and thought it was a hilarious prank, so I sent it to my supervisor in an email titled, "Important System Update." We always played practical jokes on each other and this would have just been par for the course. Only problem is he thought it was legit and sent it to the whole floor. My horror when only a few moments later I hear it playing on one PC, then another. Almost everyone in the office had clicked the people panicked, turned off their systems, losing all their work. It was a huge shit show. Believe it or not, I never got fired and actually got promoted a year later. Edit wow. Did not expect this when I got home. Thank you all for the upvotes, silver, gold and hilarious comments. To answer to a couple questions, I was not promoted taking my supervisor's position. I became a supervisor in a different area of the company. I am not sure if the video exists still, but I googled and found this link, which is the audio. No NSFW imagery. I made a mistake on what it said as it has been a while. It actually said, "Hey everybody, I am looking at gay porno." Classic supervisor sends direction to the entire office without looking at it. Plot twist: his supervisor knew. He just wanted to see the world on fire. Telling my friend's story with her permission, of course. My friend had a big interview this day. She studied nutrition in college, and was interviewing with a hospital in Boston to work on their dietetics team. She went to the interview, and met with the hospital worker, sat down and chatted for a bit. It was going well, so the interviewer asked if she wanted a tour of the area of the hospital she would be working in. She agreed, and the hospital was beautiful, but the interviewer seemed a bit awkward during the tour. She figured this was their way of politely ending the interview when they weren't interested, and tried to brush the awkwardness off and compensate by being more energetic, which only seemed to make the interviewer even more awkward. Finally, at the end of the tour when she was leaving, the interviewer admitted that she had a lovely sweater, but there was a lacy, black thong stuck to her back from static. She had been parading around the hospital trying to talk herself up, all the while walking around with a thong displayed for all to see. Needless to say, she didn't end up working there, and to this day jokes about how if she's ever dying and we need to send her to a hospital, how she'd rather die than be admitted there. Not me, but a close friend. He worked as a vet tech, cleaning kennels, walking the dogs, changing bandages, etc. He was good friends with the boss lady, and she would bring her shepherd mix pups to stay in the kennels some weekends, especially if she was out of town or busy. One Sunday morning he ran up to take care of the animals, and the pups were there. They loved to play, so, after cleaning and caring for the other animals, he went into their run and was tossing the ball and roughhousing with these two dogs. One dog jumped on him from behind and its paw slid into his front pocket, pulling down his pants. Right at this moment, with his pants around his ankles, one dog in front waiting and the other behind him, he realized that maybe today was not the day to go commando, especially as his boss walks in at that precise moment to see him, with her beloved puppers, hanging out in all his glory. He called me when he got home laughing and crying. His boss simply took the dogs and walked out without saying a word. Fortunately, it was not a rom-com movie, so he was able to explain the next day. Her only comment was, "Let us remember to wear underwear from now on, okay?" I do not know if this counts, but I worked for a call center a couple years ago, and when we asked someone their name we had to say, "And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?" Well, for some ducking reason why, I have no idea, I asked the lady on the phone, "And who do I have the pleasure of sleeping with today?" The girl who sits next to me looked at me wide-eyed, and then I realized what I said and apologized profusely. The lady on the phone just started cracking up and then told me her name was Marianne. Edit: to answer the important question, I am sorry to say I did not sleep with Marianne. Also, thanks for the silver, kind friend. Did you get the sale though? I did. And it got me my bonus that month. Damn dude, nice. Happy for you. I was chilling at my grandpa's work between school and swimming lessons, mainly to eat at the cafeteria. He worked in the government of my shitty country and had an old computer in his office, but him being old he wasn't using it much. So me being a 12 years old horny pervert and having access to internet for the first time in my life, found out about internet porn. I only watched it, but nonetheless there was a lot of disturbing porn traffic coming in through my grandpa's PC. This went on for months until my grandpa got in trouble for using a government computer for porn. I wasn't allowed to come to his work after that. Edit: side story. Once I got on my grandpa's colleague's PC. He was like a 35 years old dude, and I was browsing around the shit he had. I found a hidden folder and found something that left me puzzled for years. It was a video of a woman with a huge vagina and a bald dude. He started out slow, just some fisting, little bit of fisting, nothing serious, just some casual fisting, then in went his foot. Turns out that was a build-up. Dude ended up sticking his bald head in her manster puss, literal reverse birth. I could never unsee that, and interacting with the dude became weird afterwards. This one doubles as an excellent no, it really is not what it looks like. Doing field work in Oklahoma, aka the deer tick capital of the world, had been picking the little bastards off me all day and had already had Rocky Mountain spotted fever once that summer. None of my other female crewmates were home when I got, so I grabbed lone male crewmate and asked him to check my back for ticks. Turns out his girlfriend was coming down to visit that weekend, and she got in a little early and walked in to see me, bent over a table with the back of my shirt pulled up and my bra unclasped, and her boyfriend's nose about an inch from my back. Cue 2 sets of horrified deer in headlights expressions. I told that story at their wedding a couple weeks ago, so I do not think I screwed anything up too badly. I was at work, we were closed, and I was the only one still there. We close at 2 p.m., and sometimes delivery guys forget and still show up to drop off packages. I had just gone to the bathroom and put a small vibrator in my panties, walked out, and the doorbell rang. Without thinking, I went to the front and opened the door. I kind of froze when the delivery guy walked in and started toward the back where they usually leave the packages. Because I am standing there and you can hear the buzzing, I had to follow him so that I could sign for the package once he dropped it off. I am not sure if he heard it buzzing, but it was super quiet in there with no one around, so I am fairly certain he did. What makes this worse is that I am the regional director, so if he mentioned it to anyone else the next time he delivered, he would be mentioning it to my direct reports. No one ever said anything to me about it. Another time, I was texting my boyfriend and one of my employees at the same time. I messaged my BF telling him I really need some dick. A couple of hours later, he hadn't responded to that particular message. So I looked at my messages to be sure I sent it, and noticed it wasn't in my message history with him. Sudden realization hits, so I checked my texts with my employee, and sure as shit, I had sent it to her. I immediately sent her an apology message, and she responded back saying that she and her wife were at Coles when she got the message and that she busted out laughing and decided not to respond, but to let me figure it out on my own that I had ducked up. Good thing she is a lesbian and not a male employee, or that could have been very bad. Seems like that would be the worst place to go for some dick. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.